Welcome to the Blooming League of Original Podcasts.
G'day and welcome to an extra horrific edition of Thrash and Treasure, the torture chamber musical comedy podcast that regularly traumatizes our guests with thrash metal and classical Broadway for a little shit and giggle. And speaking of little shit, I'm Aaron, and I'm joined as usual by the man who's currently beyond therapy, but after a few episodes of this show, he'll be institutionalized. It's Dave the New Kid. How's it going?
Hi.
All right, so it's your fifth episode. Not fifth episode, is it? It's our fifth anniversary. It's your third episode, which means that it's time for your Q&A. Dun, dun, dun.
Yay!
So, first question for our listeners to get to know you a bit more. You mentioned in this episode, spoiler alert, that you've lived all over the place. So what cities have you lived in?
What cities have I lived in? Oh boy. Okay, so I was born and raised in Chattanooga.
Choo-choo.
Yep, in Tennessee. I lived in several cities in northern Georgia, Chickamauga, Dalton. I then moved to New Mexico, where I've lived in Las Cruces, where I live now, and I've lived in Albuquerque, Carrizozo, Santa Fe. That's where my kids were born. And I briefly lived in the Pacific Northwest. I lived in Santa Cruz, California, and I lived in Ridgefield, Washington, so that I could work in Portland, Oregon.
I've lived in the same house for 31 years. Had the same neighbors for 30.
I've been in this house now for 5 years, I think. It's the longest my wife and I have lived in one place.
Yeah, well, that's as long as this show has been on the air. Fancy that. Right, so speaking of, you are our new team metal captain. So what was the first metal concert or gig you went to?
Ooh, probably when I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
because I was always listening to metal albums growing up but not going to shows. My dad would take me to concerts, but they were bands that he liked. So my first metal show that I went to was a band called Hemlock. They were a band out of Vegas. They were indie at the time that I was going to their shows, and they would tour through Roswell. That's another city I lived in. I forgot to mention. I lived in Roswell, New Mexico for a while, and I would always go to their shows when they were in town, and they would put on these incredible shows. They would do huge mosh pits. They would do a wall of death that they'd count down to. They always did a great job. So Hemlock, really cool metal band.
All right, next question. What 3 movies would be in your ultimate movie marathon, and what snacks are you bringing?
If I'm allowed to cry, we're going to have Iron Giant.
Well, it's your movie marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you laugh, cry, or hurl is up to you.
Iron Giant, and this would be a weird marathon to show them together. Dark City.
Yeah.
And let's see, maybe 13 going on 30. Those are the 3 I return to the most.
I've fallen asleep by the third one. Anyways, fourth question. If you could quarantine with any Simpsons character, who would it be?
Oh, dang. Okay. You gotta understand that Simpsons is a big deal for me and my
I
wife.
know.
We quote it to each other all the time.
I know.
The easy answer would be Homer, but based on every episode where he gets into trouble, he always makes things worse until he accidentally makes things better at the very end.
Yeah.
Like the Scouts episode, Boy Scouts in the Hood. I'm gonna go with Homer though, because he'll accidentally get us out of it.
Yeah, no way in hell would I quarantine with Homer. Anyways, fifth question, last one. What would be in your ultimate rockstar rider opulence?
I don't know. First thing that comes to mind is I just want a camel.
A camel, yes.
Just a camel. Hang out with. Don't have to ride him. Watch out when he spits, but just have a camel there.
Awesome, a camel. All right. Has it got like a golden saddle or something? We want opulence, not just animals. Catching a disease from a wild animal.
Yes. It's a full glamping situation where I have a big wall tent with incredible beds inside, and all that's right outside. I don't have to bother with anything else.
Yeah, awesome. Anyways, guess what?
What?
No long-winded speeches this week. We'll save that for the Emmy Award winners. So here to show us how it's done, because he's not once, twice, he's 4 times the TNT guest. It's my friend, Jonathan X. Welcome back to the Torture Chamber. How's it going, mate?
Great to see you again. Nice to be here.
Wonderful. Every time I get to see you. We've been friends for a long time now. 15 years.
Wow.
Absolutely thrilled to have you back on the show, because obviously it's our 5th anniversary coming up. But also, I get to thank you properly for this amazing gift you gave me. The Oscars hat, which you sent me.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice.
I was so touched. I really was that you thought of me to send it to me. And you know how much I love the Oscars. I was that kid sitting here in Australia watching it. Suddenly I'm getting a bloody Oscar hat sent to me, a crew hat. Goodness gracious me. So I wear it every time I produce on this show.
Well, I tell you what, there's coming soon. I was going through my closets and stuff like that, and it's like, now that I'm not working as much as I used to, maybe I should just put the whole collection together and auction it off on eBay
Yes.
for people who collect that stuff. Because
Yes.
I have so much swag, and crew gear and things. Some of it I've wore, some of it I haven't worn. I read an article about this guy who does custom Christmas ornaments.
Okay. Yeah.
People from the Hallmark world go crazy for. And I remember he was a guest on Donnie Marie Osmond when I was the technical director on that show. And he gave the crew all these Don Marie Christmas ornaments that he custom made. And I still have them. Like, I wonder what these are worth on the open market for the Hollywood collectibles.
Yeah.
Gotta say, I'm jealous for that hat.
Yeah, because I think they're going to end up being in the trash anyway.
Yeah. People pay premium price for things. So definitely get onto that. You're right in the heart of it all. So yes, but speaking of LA, right in the heart of Hollywood and filmmaking, the start of the year was very rough for you guys. I was so worried for you, Jonathan, you and your family. I really was.
What happened this time?
The fires.
Oh,
You literally had to move out of your house, mate. I was so worried for you.
yeah. Well, it's always the earthquakes and then the fires after the earthquakes because all the topsoil was going in, the rains coming, and then dry, or it's an occasional riot and social unrest, or it was the strikes. So it's like, whatever. It's been like a crazy 3 years, 4 years.
It has been. Goodness gracious me.
Yeah, we only had to evacuate once, but we stayed without power for a few weeks and a lot of on and off. But the I got to be honest with you, the best part, because we have these little Jackery batteries with solar panels,
Yeah.
and we go out and charge them during the day, and then at night we keep recycle on the refrigerator, keep the food. But then we have all these little LED lights for the house, and my daughter, my youngest, discovered the power of analog because I have a little shortwave radio battery powered, and we would set that up in the kitchen with the antenna because we had the best signal from the hills, and we would listen to the radio and all the updates and the news breaking, evacuations, and that, and then all the weather channel on shortwave radio. And then I had an old TV with a DVD player in it, and we would hook that up to one of the batteries and then watch DVDs. And she was like, "Oh my God." I said, "Yeah, this is a great DVD. This is Indiana Jones and blah, 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 blah," and then we would watch, So it was chaotic, but it was really great bonding time.
Yeah.
And then the moment that everything went back to normal, we're sitting at the kitchen table and we're just talking and watching something. And all of a sudden the aquarium kicked on and we looked at each other and was like, "Okay, I see you. I'm going to go check my emails." Everybody bolted to their corner of the house and, went back to their technology. But during the blackout, it was wonderful because it was like a pack of wolves again.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience during a snowstorm once, day after Christmas, and everything went out except for the laptop we had, so we watched a DVD. I thought it would be funny to watch an old Stephen King miniseries, Storm of the Century, which is about a snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
Not everybody else at the gathering was as amused.
Well, it could have been worse. It could have been a documentary on the Donner Party.
Oh, yeah.
True. Make you feel a bit peckish.
Oh my goodness.
It's like when they do anniversary screenings of Titanic on cruise ships, which is actually quite wonderful to watch Titanic on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. But anyways, Dave, you're up
Oh, yes. The Emmy Awards are currently on.
right now.
Do you have any favorite shows, creatives, or performers up for an award this year?
I don't care. What I normally do is after the Emmys are over, I go to the Emmy website and look at the official press release of all the winners. And then I just click on that PDF and scroll through and see who I know who won.
Yep.
And if there's anybody that I knew, then I'll go on Facebook and say congratulations. But normally they all post pictures of themselves anyway. But no, I really don't have dogs in the hunt anymore because part of it I know is merit. Part of it is also marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is the ebb and flow of the voting academy in that division. Because like when I vote for variety, like I'm a voting member, and if I see a show that's edited and I see a show that I know was live, and then I look at the technical setup of both shows and the creative, I tend to be biased and go towards the live production versus the live to tape edited posted function. Unless that live to tape shows me something creatively that they did in the initial blocking, shooting, something blah 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 that makes it go like, oh yeah, that was far superior, you know.
Yeah, I get that. Well, it's your area expertise, really. For me, it's I look at who from Thrash and Treasure was nominated, and then I care if, at least one of our past guests or future guests is nominated, then I'm very excited. Like, then we've got someone to cheer for on this show. Well, speaking of metallic things, we're going to move on to the metal now. Have you been keeping up with your metal education?
Well, I did listen to the tracks.
Yep, but outside of that, outside of the assignment,
Well, if you have time for a story.
always.
So I recently received an email from these producers in Texas, and they asked me if, hey, are you Jonathan X that was part of Jonathan X and Black Heat, blah, 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 blah. And I go, yeah, that's me, but I don't remember being a part of this project. And so we're going back and forth emails. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He says, well, here, check this link out. He sent me a link, and it was to their Bandcamp page. So I went to the Bandcamp page, and lo and behold, track number 3 was Jonathan X and Black Heat, Retroactive Reborn. So I wrote the back, so yeah, you guys, you're right. I was part of that compilation. So there was The Dog That Wouldn't Die or something like that. It was like an EP and then a cassette in 1986. So apparently on the 40th anniversary of said record, they're doing a remix or follow-up with all the artists that contributed to that record. So I decided, well, I haven't played drums in 40 years. What the fuck am I going to do? So I decided, yeah, okay, I'll participate. So my future son-in-law, who's a keyboardist, and then his brother, who's a bassist, guitarist, musician, I sent them the original song. They listened to it. They go like, yeah, we can do something with that. Let's have some fun with it. I said, great. So I booked a day coming up at the infamous Village Studios in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Where everybody from Lady Gaga to Nine Inch Nails to Smashing Pumpkins to the band to all these, the Eagles, all these bands have recorded there. So I booked the 8-hour session, and I'm going to go in and lay down drum and bass tracks, and then we're going to lay down a bunch of guitars and keyboards and then do the vocal tracks. I'm actually going back and do this project for this 40th anniversary.
Oh,
Wow.
But I'm calling the song Retroactive Reborn, a 40-year political memory. So I'm just going to go back from the Reagan days all the way up to the Trump days and do like a spoken word poetry on how nothing's really changed.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Powerful.
Basically, what you're saying is you're going to be making your 5th appearance on Thrash and Treasure when this releases.
I will if you want when the song is done, but I'm
Yes.
telling you, it's going to be really, really bad from my point. They're musicians, so it's going to be good. For me, I'm going to bring the punk with the drumming and vocals.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Anyways, Dave, you're up. I think you might have answered this before, Jonathan, but we'll ask it again and see if your answer's changed.
If you could pick your ultimate, most over-the-top rock star rider, what would you put in it?
To be honest with you, I was the chairman of the concert committee when I was at Wichita State University, and I had to deal with writers and when we would book acts and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be as extreme as no blue M&Ms, but just whatever my favorite drink is at the time, water, some towels.
Oh, no, not water.
I would be pretty low maintenance because my personal experience with dealing with that kind of stuff, I wouldn't make it difficult. Like there's only certain brand of Earl Grey tea that you can only get a store that's 150 miles away from the university, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Because I recently read Frank Sinatra's Rider.
Oh, wow. What was in that?
And he had, 2 cartons of Calma non-filter. I was like, what the heck? How did your voice, I didn't have, bottles and, it was compared to today, it seemed very, mild, but it was like, oh my God, this type of water, just some cold cuts, some sandwiches, whatever. And, I don't think I would be that demanding. I would make it easy on people, man. Just no secret sauce in the food. No, on-site sushi chef.
Yes.
Oh, now you're talking.
Now we're cooking, but not cooking.
With refrigerated materials and stuff like that. Because if some intern's going to get you a sushi, he's putting it in his back seat, dropping, the sun's hitting it, blah, 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 blah. I would, and if you eat it before the gig, oh my God, could you imagine? Oh, could you imagine?
I live 2 days drive from any ocean, so sushi is already going to be an issue.
Okay, so you're wearing a Giants jersey. Are you a Giants fan? Is that Giants? San Francisco Giants?
Oh, yeah. This was a gift from my besties recently, my brother and sister-in-law. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan. I briefly lived in the Bay Area. I've always been a bit of a baseball fan. My dad and I used to go to games when I was a kid. But when I decided to start trying to follow baseball again, I was living in the Bay Area briefly. And so I just kind of fell into being a Giants fan.
Did you ever go to Candlestick Park?
I did not get a chance to. I have been to San Francisco, but I actually got lost in their Chinatown. It was a whole interesting day with me and my wife just arguing while we're on a bus. It was great.
Oh, you were taking the buses to get around.
Yeah, we were trying to, and then we got a little lost.
Is that Bart?
Bart? What?
BART, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, BART is the subway system, right?
Oh, is it? Oh,
Is
okay.
BART also the bus system? It might be both
I think it
bus
is.
and subway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is. I know this from Marvel movies.
Well, I mostly lived in Santa Cruz and worked in San Jose, so I didn't often get that far up there
Yeah.
or down there.
Yeah, now you're in the middle of the desert.
I've lived all over at this point.
Now, there's a lot of production work happening in New Mexico.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's growing. It's growing. They're taking a lot of work from LA.
That is true. I have a lot of friends actually. I'm still in a text chain from one of the plays I was in a few months back, where they're still sharing like, "Hey, there's this non-speaking part in this coming up, and there's a background part in this coming up," and it's pretty exciting to see. It's a cool thing to have in New Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, unless they start doing better tax credits here in California, it's not coming back, except for the small independent people and creators who are doing things.
A lot of that's up towards Albuquerque way, anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of, I've written a review for the metal album this week, and I'm going to jump into my review quickly on this because it is actually quite long. I had a little bit of an adventure with this album. So we did Touched by the Crimson King. When we first decided to take on demons and wizards, I had to say 10 Hail Mary testers to cleanse my soul before meeting the Crimson King. So I hopped on the train, expecting my trip to take the full length of the metal and musical at 2 hours together. And right as the thumping drums and machine gun guitar kicked in, the train set off in motion, aided by a medieval chorus-like sound. Oh, I didn't realize this was a period piece. But it is bloody good, or just good, period. Let's just hope it doesn't give me cramps. Anyways, it's all very epic, fantasy-esque sounding with a demonic, unrelenting quality to the vocals, which by the second and third tracks do sound a bit unrelentingly in the same key, or at least the same something. I have no clue about any of that. The musicianship seizes an opportunity to slow down and seize the day right as I walk into my appointment. Great. Picking up 15 minutes later, I do find myself relieved at this mid-tempo track, especially since my appointment put me in a shitty mood. But that's not the music's fault. The gunslinger slows down even more before pelting us with bulleting drums and that same key again, but still in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, although I'm told this is related to Stephen King. I have no clue. I'm a Stanley Kubrick fan, so horror doesn't read through, especially when we relate Wicked Witch to the fantasy world, not horror. So as I hop back on the train, I'm caught off guard by Love. No, not the hot bearish train driver, which is Love's Tragedy Asunder, and also the name of the song. Here, they sound like they're actually having fun. Love's labor is lost in a boppier feel that dips in and out of a slower ballad, and it probably works best out of them all. Not that the tracks are bad or unfun, they just don't feel recklessly abandoned. As the Immigrant Song cover kicks in, I have little to say except the vocals just don't hit that sweet spot, like the train does pulling into the station. So I hop off, and as I near the stairs, Carrie the Musical washes over me like a bucket of blood, and each step I take on the stairs hits the note, and the rhythm of life takes over, and right as I'm about to break out into song on the steps of the train station, I suddenly remember where I am, as a random junkie asks me if I know where to score. Great. As for this album's score, well, I didn't read Stephen King as much as I heard Waylon Queen, and the horror felt more fantasy, so I was let down by that brief. But overall, repetition is key, and the key was repetitive, I think. I'm not so smart, and despite the lead singer being a January 6er, that's not the music's fault. 3.5 stars. So it was fun, but too repetitive, I thought.
Well, just real quick, it's the lead guitarist.
Oh, the guitarist. Oh, well then I'll change.
Schaefer.
What? The lead guitarist is a J6er?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got pardoned? That's good.
I don't know if he got pardoned. I know he got caught. He's one of those militia guys, which I did not know when I was jamming out to that album when I was a teenager.
But that's okay. Look, it's not the music's fault.
Wait a minute. How old is this group, the metal group?
The Demons and Wizards is a super group combining members of Blind Guardian and Iced Earth, who are power metal groups, and they formed in the late 2000s.
Did I listen to the right album, Crimson King?
Yeah.
Demons and Wizards?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's kind of funny because I was listening to it. I said, okay, the chorus vocals, the layering of the vocals create that chorus, the double bass drum kicks, right? The whole battle cry, the whole majestic metalhead. And it was so funny because I had just saw a promo for Spinal Tap 2.
Yep.
I want to see that.
And then my last note was I always love a Zeppelin cover, Immigrant Song rock. Whenever I'm channel surfing, I come across a girl with a dragon tattoo next, I wait for that opening sequence because I thought when they used the Immigrant Song for their animation, I was like, that fucking rocks.
Yeah.
But I think that was Trent Reznor on that soundtrack, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of Demons and Wizards albums, and on one of them they do a cover of White Room with Black Curtains by Cream.
That's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good cover. Back when I was in a band, I had really wished I could sing like the lead singer of Demons, Wizards, and Blind Guardian, but I can't hit those power metal notes. And my understanding is in the recording of that album that we just discussed, it's all just him overlaying his tracks over and over.
Yeah.
It's all just him. I bet would make it almost impossible to play live most of the time. Would be very difficult.
Well, I think they would still do it, but they probably would do chorusing and post. So they have, your wet and dry signal, him coming from the mic and then running through a process to create that chorus reverb delay effect.
I would love to hear it with an actual choir. Like a medieval choir, because that's what it sounded like.
That is how Blind Guardian is. A Blind Guardian's very much like metal bards.
Yeah.
A lot of his music in general, that singer really likes to do literary references, and he's a big Stephen King guy. There's a lot of Stephen King stuff.
I didn't hear any of that in this. I only got fantasy, sorry.
No worries. It's all Dark Tower stuff, which is like an epic fantasy from Stephen King.
Oh, yeah, Gunslinger, I recognize that name, but like it could be anything, really. Any reference. Look, he can sing. I just didn't think he pushed his voice enough in terms of changing the key up or changing the sound or whatnot. If he was doing a ballad, he sang it as a ballad. If he was doing hard, he sang it hard. But it didn't take me anywhere. And I was a bit disappointed. And I thought that Immigrant Song, it just didn't have that real scream that you need for that. I didn't get that at all. I just didn't think it hit that sweet spot that you need for that song. Because that opening, that's an exciting opening. That is one of the most exciting openings of any songs out there. And if you're going to take it on, really take it on and beat Robert Plant.
Well, Robert Plant is incomparable.
Well, speaking of Robert Plant, did any of you guys see the recent documentary on Led Zeppelin?
I did not. That sounds interesting, though.
You guys haven't? Oh my God. It's on Netflix right now. It's called Becoming Led Zeppelin.
Becoming Led Zeppelin. All right.
Yeah, you have to go watch that. And the amount of archival footage, and you will be shocked of the guitarist and maybe the other guitarists, how much session work they did in the beginning of their career before they formed Led Zeppelin. And all the artists that they work with. I think the one guitarist worked on an arrangement for Goldfinger.
Really?
Dude, David, it will blow you away. I had no clue.
I'll have to check it out.
I had no clue that they work with all these artists. And I think John Paul Jones, who was the bassist? John Paul Jones?
Yeah.
Anyway, trust me, it will freak you out, the albums that they produced before they formed, the session work that he did. It was just amazing information. Yeah, Becoming Led Zeppelin. That's on Netflix. Watch it.
Yeah, that sounds really, really good. I love all that stuff. I even have Robert Plant's Folksier album he did with Alison Krauss on vinyl. It's really good.
So you're our team metal. As I say, it was a fun album. We hear so many albums that take us on a journey on this show that this one, I think just the journey was the same story every time. That's what it felt like to me.
I'm not going to say it was derivative, blah, 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 but it was the genre, right?
Yeah.
If I was a young kid, I just see myself sitting around my friends doing bong hits and fucking, yeah, But, now as a damn near 70-year-old man, it's like, okay, whatever. Except the Immigrant Song I did enjoy because I love Zeppelin and I grew up with the Dragon Tattoo. But, I'm definitely way out of the demographic at this point in time in my age.
Yeah.
Sure.
But not to say I don't like distortion and volume and rhythmic and blah, 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 blah. I'm looking forward to the upcoming Tron movie because I really want to see how Trent Reznor does the soundtrack for this because it's going to be fucking bad. And I'm going to go see it in IMAX. And they have the album coming up and there's concerts next week, but I don't think I can go.
I was just watching, I think I was watching Nine Inch Nails recently when I was doing a rewatch of the Twin Peaks: The Return, and they have an appearance on there. It was really cool.
How did they? Oh, it's funny you mention your age, Jonathan, because we just recorded with an 87 and an 88-year-old.
Nice.
And we gave them metal to listen to.
So how was your take on it?
They persisted despite their hesitations, and they had a really good time, and
But they were open to it and they went with the flow, right?
they were open to it and went with the flow. And
That's a beautiful thing.
I'm still getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And I got the most beautiful response from David Shire saying that it was one of their most comprehensive and most fun interviews they've ever done, and that we're really great to talk to. And
But that's the key. It's like I've always felt like whenever you had guests on a show that try to treat them as family,
yes,
right? You're welcome them into your home, make them feel comfortable, make them feel this. And then when the interview process happens, it's like that Q&A, that's exchange for dialogue. And the fact that you're not committed to commercial breaks or short like that, it's like I give people this one example when I was directing Tavis Smiley for PBS. And we had Harrison Ford as a guest.
that's right. Yeah.
And at the beginning of the interview, Harrison Ford, his arm, and you can watch body language. His arms were crossed. He was kind of leaning back, right? But as the interview went on, because he was probably tired of the press junket doing this, whatever, and he had a preconceived notion of what this was going to be like. But Tavis, which was a great interview because he has his notes, but he listens. And so when the person talks and says something, he can follow up or guide it as he's going. Midway through the interview, Harrison Ford is leaning forward, both elbows on his knees. My two shot was a little bit tighter, because they were getting more intimate, leaning into it. And then 20 something minutes later, Tavis says, well, thank you for being here. But he says, what, are we done? Is that it? Blah, 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 blah. So it went from this to what, we're done? Oh, that's how you break it down. That's how you make them feel. And then they walk away feeling like, so whatever he felt coming in, he didn't feel that way when he left.
That's it. I know you've told that story to me before. I'm gonna have to watch that interview. And
well, you won't be able to see it anywhere.
Oh, really?
Because remember, PBS dropped the show, sued Tavis, and 15 years of great interviews are scrubbed from the internet.
Oh, bugger.
But my question is, I need to write Tavis an email, because now that Trump is getting rid of PBS and they'll end up being dissolved, I mean, he owns the rights to those reels. He owns the rights to that entire library. So to me, it would be like to revisit all those interviews and create a then and now format. So every time somebody passes away that's been on our show, I go like, oh, we had a great interview with them. Or even now, people who are still alive, if they do something or break something, do a short interview of what's happening now, or show the interview, partials of that interview, and then come back. So what's happening today? Please welcome, blah, 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 and then do a follow-up interview tying things from then to now.
That'd be great.
Yeah, you have 15 years of great interviews to draw into, to repurpose the new format.
Wow. Now you're giving me ideas, Jax. But anyways, we've gone way, way off track, and it looks like I forgot to write a segue. Oh my God. So we'll be back after this ad break.
Hello there, my name is Caroline Sheen, and I've just started an exciting new podcast called Talk Musicals to Me, where I'll be sitting down with some of the biggest names and industry players in musical theatre, including Olivier and Tony Award winners, West End and Broadway icons, and celebrated composers, as they discuss the musicals that have resonated most with them, both professionally and personally, sharing their most cherished musical memories. Join me on this journey through the fantastic musical theatre world and the people who inhabit it. And here is an exclusive sneak peek. Our guest today is the incredible Adam Gettle, Tony Award-winning composer-lyricist of wonderful musicals, The Light in the Piazza, Floyd Collins, Myths and Hymns, and last year, Days of Wine and Roses. I had the absolute pleasure to work with Adam on The Light in the Piazza when it had its European premiere in Leicester Curve back in 2009, I think. And it is an absolute joy and honour to have you here. Hello, Adam.
Hello, my dear. What fun, and thanks for having me.
I'm absolutely thrilled. And we are going to crack on with the next few questions, Adam, if that's okay.
Wonderful.
Which musical do you think should be compulsory in schools for kids to take part in, and in whatever capacity, not necessarily on stage?
I would avoid anything compulsory when it comes to the art form that you and I love, because that's a sure way to at least postpone a person's loving it,
That's true. That's true.
I think the thing that I would want young people to take away from participating in a musical when they're young or having seen one is when a musical is good, it's a good musical to begin with. And then when it's lifted up onto the stage, well, it can give you a feeling you don't get from anything else. It's something to do with the sort of deeply sort of profound molecular sort of changes that happen. There's something gets pushed around inside of us and reconfigured with a great score and a great book, and decent direction that takes us through a story in that way where we can ensconce ourselves completely and take the proscenium and sort of pull it around our heads and live in the story. To me, that's what we want them to take away with them, that such a thing is possible. Of course, it's also possible with movies in a slightly different way. But to cite a specific show, I would want the score to be a really exciting score for whatever young person. And if it's Hamilton, that's great, Also, and my shows generally don't always fall into this because sometimes they're a bit too sort of involved in terms of the vocal lines and stuff. But, I want people to, especially young people, have silver in their pocket when they leave a theater or they leave the experience. They have melodies jangling around, lines that have always struck them very personally that they've kept with them, like in a locket,
This will lead on to this next question, actually. My husband actually remembers you talking about silver in your pocket. He went, I wonder if he'll say that, because it was such a great thing to say. And it's actually really useful for the next question, because is there a musical that you feel you walked out of with the most silver in your pocket, feeling changed or altered? Or did you feel like you'd live your life in a slightly different way after seeing it,
Oh, well, certainly Sweeney Todd. And I was 14, so I was already like nearly analyzing stuff. And the silver I had was not just that momentous and unforgettable score, but also the milieu, the vocabulary physically that Hal came up with his wonderful designer, but also just the way that the form was using music to really delineate character and push the story forward. So that would be a huge one. But well before that, Turn of the Screw by Britten, really moved by. I was in that. And it's hard for me to choose, what's the most silver in the pocket, but I have so much from Fiddler and so much from West Side and shows that are less known. I just we just carry it around. We have our sort of unnamed kind of tacit Rolodex, in our minds and in our hearts, and also the ache in our heart and in our throat to do well in the form, to use it at that level, to get to that level with it. And that's also a kind of, it's an energy cell,
Yeah. You talk about Fiddler there. I think that the opening number of that show is utterly brilliant. And the way it introduces character, culture, religion, tradition.
Absolutely, 100%. And even before the opening number, I think it's Joe Stein. Is that who?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
But anyway, the very first monologue, which begins the show before the number.
Yes.
It's one of the best things ever written in the theater because it perfectly lifts the story up for us to participate in. It's a fabulous sort of spiritual roadmap as well as narrative.
I love that. So the silver in your pocket coming out, especially with ticket prices these days. If you come out with something that you've learned along the way, some kind of bonus.
You better come out with something.
Exactly.
And we're back with Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron, that's Dave the New Kid, and we're joined for his fourth appearance by my friend and collaborator, Jonathan X. Now, if performing arts had an Olympics for amateur artists, what discipline would you compete at to win gold? And what discipline would you want to watch people compete at? So would you compete at photography?
Maybe doom scrolling. That would be the new Olympic sport. And I would sit there, how many hours could I doom scroll before I even consider committing suicide? That will be that should be the new Olympic sport in modern America. Doom scrolling can be a lot of categories. It could be doom scrolling reviews of your last performance.
Yep.
Doom scrolling of your character. Doom scrolling of your political moral beliefs.
Oosh, I just broke my pen and it flew. Oh, here it is. What would you want to watch people compete at?
I would watch people doom scrolling, but have a thought bubble that was reading their mind as they were doom scrolling. A visual representation, and then it'd be like a life meter at the bottom of the screen as they're doom scrolling. And if they get to a certain point, it's like 0 or whatever, it's over.
Is it doom scrolling if I'm looking for hope the whole time, hoping for good news?
Well, but that would be how you win the gold. If you keep your emotional meter at the bottom above a certain percentage point of optimism, even though you're reading nothing but the worst shit about yourself on the internet, then that's how you win. Maintaining a positive attitude in the face of doom scrolling.
I've actually done that with a show I was in where I was going through the reviews, and they weren't quite what I had hoped. And I finally saw one small mention of me doing an okay job, and I was like, worth it.
Yeah.
All right, stop now.
Yeah, go to bed now.
That's it.
Do you play any musical instruments or sing? But we've gone into that a little, but I'd love to hear more.
In the DIY 80s, 70s and 80s, the punk rock do-it-yourself movement, when we went from the big arena bands, ELO, ZZ Tops with their big arenas, Kiss, and then that underground movement started. I only know 3 chords, but I want to fucking play it with authority. And then during that time period, I was playing in a couple pickup bands, punk bands, but then I started buying some of my own equipment, and my biggest purchase was a TX 3340 4-track reel-to-reel that I picked up at a pawn shop. And then I started doing, drums is my primary instrument, but then I started doing drums, bass, guitar, and then vocals. So that was my 4-piece band, and I would just do stuff, and it was bad, but it was passionate. It was good, right? So that's what I've been doing up until I moved out here in 87. Then I started focusing on my career. But up until that time period, it was just like art for art's sake, music for music's sake. Whatever you play it with authority. That was just the attitude. And it was so much fun. It was so freeing, so creative. And at the same time, I was working the overnight shift at Satellite News Channel, which was a startup to compete with CNN. And so we would do a couple newscasts, and then we would be off for like 5 or 6 hours. So like 6 o'clock getting ready for the 7 a.m. opening broadcast inserts. Then I was done for the day. But during the day, I would do music, then mix it down to a cassette. Then when I went to work, do my couple segments, blah, blah, blah. And then we were done for like 5 or 6 hours. I would take that cassette, dub it over to a videotape. Then I would do abstract video art. I would do art pieces. So I would edit video art with my music and create these abstract things. And a couple pieces were, when Chicago Museum of Art Slow Fade to Black exhibit had sent some pieces over to Video Congress 235 in Munich and things of that nature. So I used to submit everything, just video art, blah, 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 blah. And then fast forward recently, the art gallery that had the whole catalog from years and years and years was purchased by this other gallery, and they had the access to the library. And then I get a call from, I get an email saying, hey, we're doing a revisit on, punk video art, and we would like to include your piece. And I was like, sure. So I ended up doing a video conference call for Berlin. I think it was Berlin, blah, 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 and doing a thing there. And they revisited some of the old pieces and stuff like that. So I think at this point in my career, I'm going to try to start revisiting all the old analog art, music, video art, things of that nature, and mixing with photography. I do on my timestamp. I want to make my final chapters the most creative. So that stuff is still part of my life that I'm trying to bring back to the forefront.
I can't wait to see what you're going to produce.
I need to get back into it because you talked about you were, the fires and all that, but it's like I've only worked, I think, 6 projects so far this year. And the sad part about it is, am I aging out? You think these thoughts, but then at the same time, you go like, I've had a good fucking run, dude. Just calm down. Don't worry about it. If it is what it is. If people remember you and still call you to work with it, because all the people that I broke in the industry with who are older than me are out.
Yeah.
Some are still, some of the producers here, some of the blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, you know what? I'm fucking 75. Enough of this, Other people just are retired or aged out or this or that. And it's like, well, I'm getting there. So maybe I should just focus on my art and my creative on the other side that I put away to focus on real jobs. In other words, taking care of my family, putting my kids through college, paying off my house, reality. So now maybe I should go back to fantasy.
Yes. Oh, a couple of months ago, you did the red carpet premiere for Fantastic Four. So you did another Marvel premiere. And I did want to actually ask about that because it's the MCU. It's the biggest franchise going at the moment. Is there a different vibe there from the fans as opposed to normal? Because, all the secrets and...
Well, here's the deal. A regular film, I'll say, it depends on the spirit of the film, right?
Yeah.
Like the Marvel stuff, like the cosplayers are just like outstanding.
Yeah.
They have a whole section for the cosplay at the arrival point where they engage with the actors who are coming out, which is like absolutely fucking brilliant and is key. Other fans who are away from that, just watching, if they're Marvel fans, they know the Marvel universe. Just like when I used to do BlizzCon for World of Warcraft, when we had the panels and then you had the Q&A, some of the people asking the Q&A are so fucking deep in the mythology that sometimes they catch the panel off guard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one BlizzCon, there was the red shirt guy who became infamous because he asked a question to the panel, which were all the developers and creators of World of Warcraft, and he effing stumped them. They were like shocked that they missed this fact and this character, and they actually made a character in the game called Red Shirt Guy because the guy had the question, was wearing a red shirt, blah blah blah, and that's how the respect between the two parties were, right? So in the Marvel world, you have so many people who have those fan base. There's no setup where they ask those type of questions or Q&A or panel discussion. That's for when they do their other public events, but like Comic-Con or whatever like that. But for the most part, they're strong fans.
I hate to mention it, but it would have been like Harry Potter was when those films were being premiered. Just the sheer excitement in the air I'm sure would be palatable to be there. And I think that would be fun.
Yeah, well, it is. But remember, it's also an industry event because the show was streaming, multiple platforms. Were you able to watch it here in Australia on the internet?
On Disney Plus. And I didn't actually know it was on at the time until I think you posted that you had worked on it. I'm like, oh shit, that was on. And Jonathan worked on it. So I posted about it.
Yeah, all right. So if you remember, it was producers, directors, actors, composers, costume, blah, 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 blah. And then finally the primary cast members.
Mm-hmm.
That's what theirs are. They have the primary people, director, producer, sound, costumes, special effects, and then the main actors, and then recap, and then fashion, and whatever. And then, of course, with us, oh my God, we're doing a bit with Herbie the Robot. Oh, we're doing a bit with one of the field reporters and the cosplayers and stuff like that, the fans. It's a promotional vehicle to get people excited for the movie, and then everybody goes in and watches the movie itself, But all the people filming the theater are all executives, their family, invited guests, blah, 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 blah. And then I think the cosplayers got to go into that section for them to go sit and all that and watch it. So, I mean, it's fun, but it's marketing. And my job is just to do a good job and not fuck it up and have a clean broadcast and capture the interviews, capture the energy, capture the flow, the flavor, and just have a solid 2-hour show.
Yep. We're going to move on to the musical now. So we picked Carrie. Now, Dave, you've reviewed it this week.
So this was my first experience with Carrie the musical. I'm a big fan of the original film and the book as well. It was one of the first Stephen King books I read. I think for this show, its strengths are definitely anything with the mother and daughter. Like every song they do together, the story that I could glean from this, because it was mostly listening to the album, it was very strong. And that's when we'd hear the musicality that would actually sound kind of scary and yet the emotionality is there. But overall, I found, I don't know if it was intentional or not, the musical itself a lot campier than I expected. I'm not convinced it balances the horror with the musicality, although I'm normally a sucker for musicals that are doing that on purpose, like Bat Boy the Musical, things like that. But the emotional center and by far best part of the show are the bits with Carrie and her mother. It's when it really starts sounding Stephen King-ish. The standout song for me, listened to, was And Eve Was Weak. I loved the chimes in it, and it was definitely really touching on the notes that are the most interesting part of that story.
Now, when you mentioned Bat Boy the Musical, was that the National Enquirer headline?
Yes.
Weekly World News, yes. The theater that I do plays at did a performance of it. the show I'm in right now has the star of my show that I'm in was the star of that one. So it's pretty rad.
Was that locally written?
No. It's a proper famous play.
That was on 92 that was invented. Yes, but in terms of Carrie, I have lots of thoughts about this because this is a very historically fabled show. When it premiered on Broadway, it lasted 5 performances. Like there's even a book about failed Broadway flops called Not Since Carrie, 40 Years of Broadway Flops. So in 2011, 2012, off Broadway, they decided to give it another crack, which is what we listened to. But was that successful? So had you finished, David? I can't.
Yes, it's hard for me to score this. If I had to give just the emotionality between the mother and the daughter, that is a 5 out of 5. I love every aspect of it. The rest of the play I give like a 4 out of 5. I don't think it works as strongly as Every Time. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Here's my notes on that real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, I love the original 1976 film.
Yep.
All right. And I enjoy the 2013 remix. And I was happy about the 2013 remix because it had alumni Julianne Moore from my high school, Frankfurt American High School. She was class of 79. I was class of 75.
Oh, wow.
With musicals overall, it's like, musicals, But I've learned to appreciate them, right? Because the actor's ability to be in the moment and outside of themselves and storytelling is so cool. I could never do that. And then as always, as a director, the director in me, as I'm listening to the lyrics and listening to the performance, sometimes I visualize the story from a film perspective, right? Camera movement, camera placement, the actor's movement on the stage. It is like when I go to theater and watch performances, I look at the stage blocking, the costuming, the set pieces, the movement, because it's so impressive how you might see things fly in and out, but your mind disregards it as you're setting up the scene that they're building, right? And then when I listen to recordings like this, sometimes my mental visualization is how I'll cover this as a director, which staging I would do, set and movement. And so, to me, it's like a blessing and a curse. And like I said, when I attend theatrical performance, I do the same thing. Only I'm watching what is happening on the stage. So I enjoyed Carrie the musical. I don't know what the 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5, whatever your score is, because I just enjoy and appreciate the skill set of the performers, the work that actors do when they do stuff like that. And then from a director listening, doing the visualization process of what's in the mind's eye.
Yeah, it was in the 80s, lasted 5 performances. It had Betty Buckley in it, who was in the original film. Was she Sue Snell? I can't remember. Anyways, okay, so the opening track I think it sets a vibe. It's just a tense vibe. But then once we go into Carrie's I Want song, her titular song, that's Broadway. That's not Carrie the musical. That's nothing to do with Carrie at all. I didn't hear Carrie in that. Carrie is shy. She's enclosed. She's not singing out loud like she's in Broadway.
That was my big problem with it. Her belting. I just don't see Carrie belting.
Yeah, right. So that was the problem there. They've tried to create, which is maybe the problem the first time around, they've tried to create a Broadway musical and not Carrie the musical.
Yes.
We need to hear it in the music. The Mum song, I can't remember what it was called, that would have been better served being one violin. Just a real tragic, dark violin juxtaposed against her singing would have been absolutely phenomenal and, again, tense. But no, it had that over-orchestrated Broadway sound. There's no nuance. There's absolutely no nuance in this musical beyond that opening song. Everything is just sounding like it's just trying to be a Broadway musical. And Carrie is a beloved film and I guess book, but that film especially is, it's quite the classic. It's very popular. So you have an IP, you have a title here that has goodwill, and what they've given us is basic bitch. And I think that's to its detriment very much. So
I can see why it struggled when it was out there.
Yeah. Like, okay, the sound that we're hearing now is, I haven't heard the bootleg of the original in a long time. When I did hear it was like on cassette tape and it wasn't the full show. So I'd never heard the proper bootleg fully and clearly beyond cassette tape. So they did reorchestrate it for this, but I think they went in the wrong direction. I think they were trying to appease an audience. You need to challenge an audience with a material like this. There was no challenge. The challenge was in the fact that you're making me listen to a Broadway musical, not Carrie the musicals. Look, I pushed for 3 stars, and that was mostly in the performances. The songs are good. They're just orchestrated wrong. They're orchestrated too much. And then a lot of the times, like Carrie's song, as I said, was oversung. It should have been more inward. It should have been more insular. It should have been her speaking to herself because she's shy. Even though she's expressing those emotions, she could do that in acting, singing, not in belting singing. So I thought it let itself down by trying to appease. So it got a 3 stars from me, but it pushed for that. It really did. The opening song, I love the opening. I think it's a great song.
Yes. Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, all valid points. I think there is something to be said though for everything with the mother when she's connecting with Carrie.
Yeah.
I think really works.
Yeah, there's There's no drama behind it. Even if there is behind the singing or the lyrics, there's not behind the music because we're just hearing a Broadway song. So they needed to strip away some instruments and refocus the sound on the title that they deliver, the brand they are delivering us. It's not a happy, fun musical.
I'm realizing why my students love me because I'm an easy grade. I gave them 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, whatever it was. Because for me, it's like when I was listening, I was visualizing, I was there, I was gone. I wasn't really analyzing that much. But I understand what you're saying about the belting because there were a couple times I was visualizing the fucking kids dancing around and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, are they being dickish right now? And she's about to fuck them up, blah, 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 blah. You see all that stuff, that movement. But I expected that because it's a musical theater, blah 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 blah. I'm not.
That's it, and it should have been. Now that I think that the better example is actually the way they cast film musicals or adaptations of musicals as films, because they do tend to cast people who are actor singers more than big singers. Like Johnny Depp in Sweeney Todd gets a bit of flack for not being incredibly strong, but he is subtle through his performance all the way through that
Sweeney
movie.
Todd was fucked up, man. That movie was brutal. The first time he dropped the chair and the body hit the floor below, the audio in my theater was just like thump thump. It was like, it was like, oh my God. And I felt so bad because this woman took her kid to see it.
Yeah.
And I think they got up and walked out after that scene.
Oh.
It was like early in the movie when he did the throat slash and body drop. It was like,
Wow.
baby, we gotta go. We can't watch this movie.
And now that happens on stage too. Traditionally, there's a two-leveled set, and Sweeney's on top, and he sends the body, like the actor, through a chute.
Yeah.
Like he pulls a lever and the chair sort of opens up and he goes through a chute down to the pie lady downstairs. Now, Sweeney Todd is a great example where the music fits the tone of what you're selling me. You're selling me a horror about cannibalism and, this criminal guy who murders people and this deranged psychopathic pie maker. And it's there in every little moment, and I can't think of a word. I want to say pixel, but it's not on the computer, is it? You know what I mean? Like it's there in every fiber of its being. Carrie failed on that level to deliver me a horror. I would love to direct it or musically direct it because I would love to strip away some of those instruments and really bring out the deranged drama of the mum. But anyways, I'm going to move the show along because we're actually going to try something new on you, Jonathan.
Okay.
A brand new format. So, well, it seems something... Oh, I half wrote my segue, something about being afraid of things. So we'll be back after this. G'day, listeners. Aaron here. While we've been off on hiatus, I haven't actually been taking a break. I've released a new book lately, so I thought I should probably plug it in this commercial break. So if you yourself or anyone you know is a budding artist or just likes to doodle when they're on the phone, I've actually released a book that's filled with 150 drawing activities, but also it has 150 drawing challenges to go along with it. So there's 160 pages and 300 drawing challenges all up. So it's just a fun little book that I decided to put together and put online for people to buy. And it's been tested out, and the people who tested it out said it was lots of fun. So if you're listening to this and want to help support our network, please go to www.thetonistantales.com/bookstore. Now, if you look at the link below, you'll see a link to that, and you can use the code TNT20 to get 20% off. So that's pretty awesome. So I'd really appreciate it if you could help our network stay afloat and buy my latest book, which I haven't even mentioned the name. It is called Art for My Sake, and it is all about drawing and doodling and being challenged along the way. So yes, anyways, back to the episode. We're back with Thrash and Treasure. I'm Aaron, that's Dave the New Kid, and we're joined by globe-trotting military brat turned globe-trotting multi-award winning technical director, Jonathan X, in his fourth adventure into our torture chamber. Now, a new question we've been asking since your last appearance. You do lots of things incredibly well, but what's one normal, everyday thing which you're terrible at that everybody else can do perfectly well?
Irregular sleep patterns.
Yep.
Getting regular sleep patterns. I suck at that.
I
Yep.
feel that one.
No, 100%. Totally feel seen with that one. So we're going to test out a new show here because we're currently developing a new podcast called Speed Junket. It is exactly what it sounds like, and the rules are very simple. We're going to put 20 minutes on the clock, and you'll have that 20 minutes to answer as many questions from our list of 100 as you can get through in that time. So once the time is up, the amount of questions you answered will go onto our scoreboard as points, where the winner will receive the prize of eternal glory. The questions will range from personal tastes, personal history, through to random trivia, random thoughts, and other miscellaneous questions along the way, with some deep thought obstacles popping up to get you thinking and hopefully wasting time. You may plead the fifth on any question and we will move on. However, you will be deducted a point for each pass. So are you clear on the rules?
Yes.
Yes. So, all right, we're going to get the clock up. And Dave, you're going to start us off. So we're going to take turns asking 5 questions each. In 5, 4, 3, go.
What's your middle name if you have one?
Jonathan.
What city were you born in?
Harrisburg, PA.
What cities or towns have you lived in during your life?
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Indianapolis, Indiana, Wichita, Kansas, Carbondale, Illinois, Butzbach, Germany, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes.
Who is your bestest best friend?
Uh, uh, Tim Cruise.
Yep. Oh, that's me. Were you good or a rebel at school? I think I know the answer to this one.
I was a good boy.
Yep. No, that's not the answer I thought you were going to say. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
First movie you remember seeing?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah. What would be your drag name?
Loretta.
Loretta. Favorite bands or musicians?
Oh, there's so many. Just so many. I can't name just one.
It says bands or musicians in the plural.
Musicians.
Yep.
Oh my God. Who do I really, really, really love? I'll just say James Chance and the Contortions.
Yep. Dave?
Where was your last holiday destination?
Oh, that's how I know destination. Uh, Probably Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. See family.
Where do you want a holiday next?
I would like to go to Guam.
Yep.
Have you ever won any competitions? Awards excluded.
A bicycle race in Germany.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. Scariest movie you've ever seen?
Uh, I the most recent one would be Bring Her Back.
Yep.
Last time you jumped in puddles for fun?
I would say 70s.
Oh, too long.
That's way too far away. Do you have any pets?
Yes. Uh, Jamo,
Yep.
Luna, Kiara, Lilo.
Oh.
Yeah.
They sound like they're all girls. Adorable. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Vanilla. Vanilla bean.
Yeah. Excluding mosquitoes and other common bugs, have you ever been bitten by an animal?
Dog.
Ouch. Describe your personal fashion style.
I love vintage clothing. When I
Yeah.
dress up, I try to have vintage style to it. But other than that, jeans and shirts.
What 3 TV shows do you love the most
What 3 current TV shows?
from any time?
Uh,
We're on 4 minutes now, and question 20.
I don't know. Favorite TV shows. Well, right now I'm watching Alien Earth,
Yeah.
Ooh, me too.
which is really, really good.
So good.
It's really, really good. Well done, creative music sound. The music selection is great. The cinematography, directing, working with the actors is really, really good. So I say Alien Earth I watched recently. Um, I watched Dexter Resurrection, the third iteration of that show, and I can't think of what another one I've been watching lately. Uh, recently, what else have I been watching? Oh, I think I tried to start watching The Man Who Fell to Earth again.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite teacher in school?
Oh, I would have to say Ron Matson, my sociology teacher in college.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
I've only done karaoke once, and it was in New York, New York, so I have to say that one.
Hmm. What sport teams do you support?
My only team, I'm a season ticket holder for the Los Angeles Clippers.
Hmm. Do you have any phobias? If so, what?
None.
None. Wow.
None. Best home cooked meal you've had? Who, what, when, where?
Me, and I did it yesterday. I had like catfish fillet and uh, iron skillet pan frying a slight butter, and then red beans and rice combination with crushed peppers, onions, and things inside of it. So I cooked that yesterday for myself.
Hmm.
How old were you when you had your first kiss? Ooh.
Uh, Probably 27, 28.
Oh, wow. That's me, a late bloomer. How many and what countries have you visited?
Oh God, that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Let me just say, like Europe, Asia, South America. Uh, I haven't been to Greenland. I haven't been to Africa. Been to Canada. Been to Japan. So Asia, Japan, Pacific Rim, China. Yeah, I've had a good run of traveling and working. Oh, Australia.
Yeah, I was going to
You
say,
know,
waiting for that one.
so that's about it.
Yeah. Which Muppet would you most like to quarantine with?
Uh, I, I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how long. So either Miss Piggy or the drummer.
Yep, animal.
Animal.
Do you have any tattoos? If so, what and where?
I have a barcode on my left shoulder.
Yeah, awesome. What is your preferred travel music?
Travel music.
Yep.
If I'm in a car, I just have everything on scan. I go up and down the radio dial. If I'm in a new city, I go in the 80s and 90s for where I can find college independent stations, and then I just kind of listen to the local flavor.
Oh, what was your most cherished childhood toy?
I had a model of the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea submarine.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
cool. What is the capital of Australia?
God, I don't know if it is. I was want to say Sydney, but it's not. What is it?
Canberra.
Canberra?
Yep.
Worst musical instrument invented?
Uh, I would say no such thing.
Wow, that's daring.
Who is the most famous person you've met?
Oh my God. The one that meant the most to me, I would have to either say Rod Steiger or possibly Soupy Sales.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But then I had the good fortune of meeting Sidney Poitier,
Oh wow.
Wow.
and I'm trying to think of the other gentleman's name with Sidney Poitier. But a few that I actually went to say hello to.
Yeah.
But childhood would have to be Soupy Sales.
Have you ever vomited on a carnival ride? And if so, what ride and when?
Never.
Oh,
Never.
bugger.
Or never will there. No.
Me neither.
Best birthday party you've ever had?
There was one that I had in Indianapolis, and a lot of people came to the basement for the party. Everybody had a good time.
Yeah. What has been the most exotic or strange fruit that you've tried?
I don't know. When I travel, I eat local cuisine as much as I can if it's fresh. So who knows what I've eaten?
Yeah. Summer or winter? Which do you prefer?
Well, now that I live in LA, I appreciate sometimes when I travel for winter.
Yeah. When was the last time you built something out of Lego?
Probably 50, 60 years ago.
What was the last book you read?
Oh my God. Prob I don't know, that's embarrassing. I would almost have to say 1975 Young Frankenstein.
Okay. Wow. That's your question. Sorry, Dave.
Most nervous you've been during an interview?
Besides right now,
Yes, besides right now.
Clock is ticking.
uh
11 minutes.
I don't know. It's not that bad. I would say just job interviews.
Hmm?
But even then it's like not anymore. It's like I'm to the point in my life, it's like whatever, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good attitude to have. Who was your best friend as a child?
I would say Thomas and Alan.
Yeah.
If wishes were dinosaurs, which dinosaur species would you like to be eaten by?
Hopefully the one that can do it in one bite, so maybe a T-Rex.
Best concert experience, who, what, when?
Recently my daughter took me to go see Kendrick Lamar. It was a lot of fun. And that was like last year
That would be
or
fun.
this year.
Did we
Yeah.
ask this one before?
Yes, we already asked the next question. You want the
So
other one?
candy bar flavor then.
Which favorite candy bar flavor?
If I do eat it, I do like Snickers.
Yeah.
Mm,
Is that not brand, but would that be
Butterscotch.
considered chocolate and peanut?
Yeah,
sure, yeah.
counts. Now, what superpower would you want?
To be able to fly.
Yep, me too. Can you name all four Golden Girls?
Nope.
Nope. Yeah, so we'll make that a pass. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Yes.
Yeah. Who'd win in a fight, Yoda or Bruce Lee?
I will always take Bruce Lee.
Yes. Hell yes. How many times did you get detention in school?
Mm, maybe once.
Yep. All right. I'll pay it. Dave?
Have you had any near-death experiences?
Yes.
Favorite pizza toppings?
Pepperoni.
Um,
What would your... Oh, we
we
already asked this.
lost them. What have I done?
It's all right.
Superhero name.
What would your superhero name be?
Shit.
Uh, JX, the Avenger.
Yeah.
What is the best time of the day and why?
I like midnight to 6 a.m.
Yep.
Interesting. Why is that?
Because no one's around.
Quiet. Quiet.
Should plastic straws be legalized again?
I use plastic straws all the time. Yeah, whatever.
What 5 people would be your ultimate dinner party guests?
What 5 people would be my ultimate dinner party guests? Oh my God.
Right, 14 minutes and 15 seconds
I
now.
would say possibly, I would like to talk to maybe Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
I would like to talk to maybe put Jesus Christ in there, put Muhammad in there. I would put God in there, and then I would put my father in there.
Hmm.
So, now, one thing besides your phone, wallet, or keys that you can't leave the home without.
Chapstick.
Yep. Can you explain to our listeners what Mandelbrot sets are?
Mandelbrot sets.
Yep.
Is that the abstract visualization of numbers or something?
It's like fractals.
Fractals, yeah.
Yes. So you can
Right, well, it's
explain.
kind of close, huh?
Yeah, you can explain. Yes, well, I will pay that. Which horror movie do you think you would be most likely to survive?
The black guy never survives.
These are written for everybody, by the way. They're not
No,
specifically
no,
done.
well, I'm just being honest with you. Either we're first to go, or we're the character that sacrificed himself so the white couple can get away.
Tony Todd lived through all those Final Destination movies. We're
Did you
wasting time
see
on
his,
this.
okay, stop the clock. Did you see his little speech in Final Destination
I
Bloodlines?
haven't watched it.
Okay. You have to watch it because there was one scene
Yeah, he gives a speech.
where they go to the morgue and he talks to them about life and living your life and blah 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 blah. And then he kind of turns to the camera and makes a closing statement
Yeah.
by making eye contact to the viewer quickly. Dude, and you know he died after that, so it makes it even more impactful. It's fucking beautiful.
Candyman is one of the few horror films that still terrifies me.
I have him right here.
All right.
I have him on my wall and as a Funko Pop.
All right. You can start the clock again.
All right, so we're on 1549. With my pen. What were we up to? Horror movie most likely to survive. A Jordan Peele one. That's what it would be.
Name what now? What's that?
A Jordan Peele horror movie.
Oh well,
You'd survive.
You'd survive.
Get Out is the main one that where he broke and was really good, but I like a lot of his work.
Yeah. Now, what's your craziest party trick? In 16 minutes.
Staying sober.
Staying sober? Yeah. Dave?
Last time you used an old-fashioned typewriter?
Maybe 40 years ago.
Which 2 actors played Mario and Luigi in the 1993 live-action film?
I visualize them, but
Mhm.
I can't remember their names.
That's pass.
Is that a pass?
If I get them, I thought if I say pass or take the fifth, I deduct a point. If
Yeah.
I don't know the answer, is that the same thing? You deduct a point, or you just don't get a point? Ben Hopkins or whatever is one of
There
them.
we go. You get a point. Bob Hoskins. He was very, very
Bob
close.
Hoskins.
And
All
John Leguizamo as Luigi
Yep.
in a classic movie, people. Goodness me. Sorry, Dave. We're wasting time.
Weirdly cyberpunk. I dig it.
I love it. There's a dinosaur.
Oh, what's your least favorite food?
Oh, yum.
Eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. What teen idol posters were on your wall as a kid?
I had Angela Davis as a kid on my wall.
Interesting. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
I would probably say the chicken.
Marvel or DC?
Uh, would it be wrong if I say both?
No, that's perfectly.
I like Marvel and I like DC. I know everybody shits on him, but I still like Zack Snyder's Superman.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There's something about his production style, right? Um, I love the second unit director footage, the close-ups, the objects, the environment, the this, the that. Henry Cavill was a great Superman for me. You know, I Zach has a style, and I appreciate the style.
Yeah, he does. Do you drive an auto or a manual?
Auto.
Yeah. If you were to leap into any painting to explore that world, which painting would you want to jump into, Mary Poppins style?
Oh my God.
We got a minute 5 left.
Maybe the Scream.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. And I have the screen right here. Best compliment you've ever received from a complete stranger. 55 seconds to go.
I would say Harry Nilsson, who did put the lime in the coconut.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one is the
He was
loneliest number.
So I was doing a Los Angeles Kings hockey game, and he was a guest of the producer, and he was sitting in the control room, and like I'm teeing and I'm doing the switcher, doing the effects, and blah 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 blah. And then as he was leaving, he leaned over my shoulder and he said, "You play that like an instrument." And I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And I had my journal with me, so I had him sign it, my journal, and he go to Jonathan X, Harry Nilsson, blah 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 blah. And that was like because I knew all the studios he's worked in and all the musicians he's worked with. And the fact that he saw me working my equipment and said, "You play that like an instrument," it was just like, oh my God. And the other one was from Jerry Lewis.
Time's up. 20 minutes. You got through 69 questions, Jonathan.
Dinner for two.
I love that line. Yes, that story, I never knew that. That's because I love that song, obviously. It did One Is the Loneliest Number, yeah?
Did he do that one?
Or was that Harry Chaplin? No, that was Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah,
I think,
but Harry Nilsson did a lot of great songs. Did a lot of
Yeah.
studio work with Lennon and all that.
I had to borrow a friend's car once, and that song was stuck in the CD player and would play on repeat the whole time that we drove it if we had the stereo.
What? Put the lime in the coconut?
Lime in the coconut over and over and over and over. So I love that song, but every time it brings me right back to driving past all these tumbleweeds while the song was playing on repeat.
So yeah, he wrote One Is the Loneliest Number. Yes. No, that's wonderful. Okay, so that's going to go on our scoreboard, and you're going to be the first guest on there.
Yay!
So all other guests
Well done.
we have on Speed Junket will have to compete against you and try to top you on 69.
All right. Well, I hope I didn't give away too much information so people can figure out my passwords.
Oh, no, I didn't think of that, did I?
Mother's maiden name. And...
You know how hard it was to come up with 100 random questions? That's why there's like 2 or 3 in there that I doubled up on, and I didn't even know it.
What's the last 4 digits of your social security? What street were you born on? What's your favorite pet's name? Oh my God, I just gave them everything.
Goodness gracious me. No, Jonathan, as always, it is always such an honor. I love talking to you. As I said, we've been friends for so long now, and having you on this show is just such a joy to get you to share your story and your career with the world. So yes, thank you so much for joining us. So we'll let you go because we have gone a little bit over, I think. Actually, no, we're a little bit under.
All right, no problem. I had a great time as always. Thank you.
Lovely meeting you.
All right, David. And where you at? You're in New Mexico, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
20 minutes from the Mexico border.
45 minutes.
Oh, 45 minutes. I was close.
Right.
I've never
Well,
been.
when it's time to evacuate, good luck.
Dude, does that mean you have a bit of the wall near you?
So that's more of an El Paso thing, which is about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. The port of entry is over there. I live in a town called Las Cruces.
Oh, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Nice.
Yes.
Now, are you anywhere near where they did the nuclear bomb testing?
That's a few hours north. It's the Trinity site.
All right. Is that open to the public?
Only at certain times of the year. They limit when it's open. I've personally never been. It's one of the few places I'd really like to go see. I haven't been.
Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still radioactive.
My understanding is a little bit.
Goodness sake. Go there and
Check
get
that out.
superpowers. That'd be fun. I would want to fly too, but I'd also want invisibility because I wouldn't want invisibility whilst being on the ground because people can still bump into you and know that you're there. So I'd rather like be invisible up above them so they can't bump into
Like
me.
ghost powers.
I've completely overthought this.
I just want to freeze time like Zach Morris.
Anyways, we'll let you go, Jonathan. Otherwise, we're sitting here talking about random shit forever. So-
All right, guys, take care. Thank you. Pleasure meeting you, David.
Pleasure's all mine.
No, again, thank you so much for the hat. Legit, it made me cry. I was so happy.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Have fun.
Like quicksand!